Learn about the world. Latvia. Latvia is a country in the Baltic region of Northern Europe, one of the 3 Baltic states. Latvia is bordered by Estonia to the north, Lithuania to the south, Russia to the east and Belarus to the southeast, sharing a sea border to the west with Sweden. Basic information. Full name, Republic of Latvia. Government type, parliamentary democracy. ISO, LV, LVA. Country domain, LV. Time zone, +2 o'clock. Telephone code, +371. Capital, Riga. Major cities. Daugavpils, Liepāja, Jelgava, Jūrmala, Ventspils, Rezekne. Area, 64,589 square kilometers. Terrain, low-lying plains in central Latvia, plateaus in Vidzeme and Latgale in the east. High mountains in the Kurzemē region in the west. Forests cover 1/3 of the country, with more than 3,000 small lakes and many marshes. Climate, temperate, maritime, wet, with 4 seasons of roughly equal length. Population, 1,852,803, May 2025. Major ethnic groups, Latvians 58.5%, Russians 29%, Belarusians 3.9%, Ukrainians 2.6%, Poles 2.5%. Religions, Lutheran, Orthodox, Roman Catholic. Language, Latvian. Russian is also spoken by most people. Natural resources, peat, limestone, dolomite, amber, hydropower, timber, arable land. Agricultural products, grains, sugar beets, potatoes, vegetables, beef, pork, milk, eggs, fish. Industrial products, automobiles, railway cars, agricultural machinery, fertilizers, electronics, synthetic fibers, pharmaceuticals. Processed foods, textiles. Exports, food, wood and wood products, metals, machinery and equipment, textiles. Export partners, Lithuania, Russia, Estonia, Germany, Poland, Sweden, UK, Denmark. Imports, machinery, equipment, consumer goods, chemicals, fuel, vehicles. Import partners, Lithuania, Germany, Poland, Russia, Estonia, Finland, Netherlands. Currency, Latvian Lat, LVL. The foreign relations of Latvia are primarily managed by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The modern Republic of Latvia considers itself a continuation of the 1918 to 1940 Latvian state. After declaring the restoration of full independence on August 21, 1991, Latvia joined the United Nations on September 17, 1991, and has since become a signatory to numerous UN organizations and international agreements. Latvia actively pursues deeper integration and cooperation with NATO, the European Union, EU, the OECD, and other Western organizations. It also seeks to expand its role in UN peacekeeping missions worldwide. Latvia is a member of several international organizations, including Council of Europe, (CO), International Council for the Exploration of the Sea, International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, International Criminal Court, ICC, World Bank, International Monetary Fund, IMF, and European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, EBRD. Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, OSCE. North Atlantic Coordinating Council, NACC. CERCO. Latvia officially became an EU member state on May 1, 2004. It also joined NATO on March 29, 2004. On April 11, 2024, Latvia signed a 10-year security agreement with Ukraine. Latvia has established diplomatic relations with 158 countries. It has 44 diplomatic and consular missions and maintains 34 embassies and 9 permanent representations abroad. There are 37 foreign embassies and 11 international organizations in Latvia's capital Riga. Latvia hosts one European Union institution, the Body of European Regulators for Electronic Communications, BEREC. Latvia's foreign policy priorities include cooperation in the Baltic Sea region, European integration, active involvement in international organizations, contribution to European and transatlantic security and defense structures, participation in international civilian and military peacekeeping operations, and development cooperation, particularly the strengthening of stability and democracy in the EU's Eastern Partnership countries. Latvia participates in the Northern Dimension and Baltic Sea Region Program, European Union initiatives to foster cross-border cooperation in the Baltic Sea region and Northern Europe. The Secretariat of the Northern Dimension Partnership on Culture, NDPC, will be located in Riga. In 2013, Riga hosted the annual Northern Future Forum, a two-day informal meeting of the prime ministers of the Nordic-Baltic countries in the UK. The Enhanced Partnership in Northern Europe, or EPINE, is the U.S. Department of State diplomatic framework for cooperation with the Nordic-Baltic countries. Latvia hosted the 2006 NATO summit, and since then the annual Riga conference has become a leading foreign and security policy forum in Northern Europe. Latvia held the presidency of the Council of the European Union in the first half of 2015. Since February 2022, Latvia's relations with Russia have deteriorated to the extent that Latvia withdrew its ambassador from Russia and expelled Russia's ambassador to Latvia in January 2023 and banned Russians from entering Latvia. Human rights in Latvia are generally respected by the government, according to the U.S. Department of State and Freedom House. Latvia is ranked above average among the world's sovereign states in democracy, press freedom, privacy, and human development. The country has a relatively large ethnic Russian community, which has basic rights guaranteed under the Constitution and international human rights laws ratified by the Latvian government. However, human rights organizations have reported multiple problems. Especially non-citizens, including stateless persons, suffer from limited or no access to a broad range of rights. Also, there were problems with police abuse of detainees and arrestees, poor prison conditions and overcrowding, judicial corruption, discrimination against women, incidents of violence against ethnic minorities, and societal violence and incidents of government discrimination against homosexuals. In March 2020, Latvia derogated from some of its obligations under ECH-RAND ICCPR, having referred to the COVID-19 outbreak. As of end 2019, European Court of Human Rights has delivered 144 judgments in cases against Latvia, beginning from 2001, in 115 cases. It has found violations of the European Convention on Human Rights or its protocols. UN Human Rights Committee has adopted views in 3 cases involving Latvia, as at 2020. In 2 cases finding violation of ICCPR, Ryman vs. Latvia and Ignatane vs. Latvia. According to Amnesty International, non-citizens, including stateless persons, suffer from limited or no access to a broad range of rights, including the right to participate in political processes, and the right to employment in the civil service and private sector. The majority of them were born or lived almost their entire lives in Latvia. Non-citizens also have restrictions on property ownership. Amnesty International reported racially motivated attacks against Romani people. Latvia lacks of comprehensive national legislation dealing with all forms of discrimination. Lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender, LGBT, people have faced discrimination by verbal abuse. There were reported allegations of deliberate physical ill treatment of detainees by prison staff. Human Rights Watch reported in 2006 the attacks on peaceful lesbian and gay pride activists in Riga on July 28. The banned march was targeted by crowds of anti-gay protesters. In 2009, the gay march was allowed by Administrative Court of Riga. According to Freedom House, Latvia has wide civil liberties. Also, political rights are in a high level, though the country suffered high-profile corruption scandals during 2007. The government generally respects freedom of speech, freedom of press, and freedom of religion. Academic freedom is respected in law and in practice. Freedom of assembly and association are protected by law and in practice. The highly competitive Latvian mass media are proving to be reliable sources of information and watchdogs against governmental abuses of power. According to Human Rights Report of United States Department of State, Latvia generally respects the human rights of citizens and the large resident non-citizen community. However, there were problems with serious police abuse of detainees and arrestees, poor conditions at police detention facilities, poor prison conditions and overcrowding, judicial corruption, obstacles to due process, official pressure to limit freedom of speech, violence against women, child abuse, trafficking in persons, incidents of violence against ethnic minorities, and societal violence and incidents of government discrimination against homosexuals. Specific issues of Latvia. Like in many post-socialist countries, restitution of real estate has taken place in Latvia. Therefore, a considerable part of former tenants of public housing found themselves in private housing with higher rent. Rent control for such dwellings was, after multiple extensions, phased out in 2007. Limitations to eligibility and their enforcement were in the focus of several ECTHR judgments in cases against Latvia. Additionally, there have been reports of police abuse of detainees and arrestees. Poor prison conditions and overcrowding, judicial corruption, incidents of violence against ethnic minorities, and societal violence and incidents of government discrimination against homosexuals. Same-sex marriage is constitutionally prohibited in Latvia. Transport. The transport sector is around 14% of GDP. Road system. It is mandatory to keep headlights on while driving, even in daylight. Most cars commercially sold in Latvia are equipped to make this automatic. National road network in Latvia totals 1,675 kilometers of main roads, 5,473 kilometers of regional roads and 13,064 kilometers of local roads. Municipal roads in Latvia totals 30,439 kilometers of roads and 8,039 kilometers of streets. The best-known roads are A1, European Route E67, connecting Warsaw and Tallinn, as well as European Route E22, connecting Ventspils and Terahova. In 2017 there were a total of 803,546 licensed vehicles in Latvia. Latvian Railways is the main state-owned railway company in Latvia. Its daughter companies both carry out passenger services as well as carry a large quantity of freight cargo, and freight trains operate over the whole current passenger network. And a number of lines currently closed to passenger services. Latvian Railways' main network consists of 1,860 kilometers, of which 1,826 kilometers is 1,520 mm Russian gauge railway, of which 251 kilometers are electrified. making it the longest railway network in the Baltic states. Latvia's railway network is currently incompatible with European standard gauge lines. Vivi is the only passenger-carrying operator in Latvia. Riga International Airport is the only major airport in Latvia, carrying around 5 million passengers annually. It is the largest airport in the Baltic states and has direct flights to over 80 destinations in 30 countries. It is also the main hub of Air Baltic. In the recent years, Air Baltic also operated from Liepāja International Airport as well as Ventspils International Airport, but operations in both of these airports were ceased until 2017, when Air Baltic relaunched flights from Riga to Liepāja. Currently there are plans for further development in several regional airports, including Jūrmala Airport, Liepāja, Ventspils as well as Daugavpils International Airport. As of 2003, there were a total of 51 airfields in Latvia, with 27 of them having paved runwā. There is also a narrow-gauge railway between Gulbīna and Alūksne, operated by the Industrial Heritage Trust, using Russian and Polish-built heritage rolling stock. 3 narrow-gauge trains a day operate on the 33 km route between the two towns. The 4 biggest ports of Latvia are located in Riga, Ventspils, Liepāja and Skalt. Most transit traffic uses these and half the cargo is crude oil and oil products. Free Port of Ventspils is one of the busiest ports in the Baltic states. Apart from road and railway connections, Ventspils is also linked to oil extraction fields and prior to 2022, transportation routes of Russian Federation via system of 2 pipelines from Polotsk, Belarus. Waterways, 300 kilometers. Crude oil 412 kilometers. Refined products 421 kilometers. Natural gas 1097 kilometers 2003. Total, 11 ships, with a volume of 1,000 gross tonnage, GT, or over, totaling 53,153 GT, 37,414 tons deadweight, DWT. Ships by type: Cargo Ship 6, Petroleum Tanker 1, Refrigerated Cargo 2, Roll-on, Roll-off Ship 1, Short Sea Passenger 1. Education in Latvia is free and compulsory. Compulsory education includes 2 years of preschool education, usually starting at 5 years old, and a further 9 years of primary education, usually until 15/16 of a year of age. In 1996, the gross primary enrollment rate was 95.8%, while the net primary enrollment rate was 89.5%. The number of children who do not attend primary school was increasing as of 2001. In rural areas, a number of schools have been closed. The place allocated to minority languages in secondary education after the 2004 minority school transfer to bilingual education, 60% in Latvian and 40% in the minority language, was an issue of protests in 2003-2004 and was opposed by Headquarters for the Protection of Russian Schools and Association in support of Russian language schools. According to 2010 data from UNESCO, 4,720 students from Latvia were enrolled in tertiary education abroad, mostly in the UK, Russia and Germany. 1,760 students from other countries were enrolled in tertiary education in Latvia, mostly from Russia, Ukraine and Lithuania. Latvia closed 131 schools between 2006 and 2010, which is a 12.9% decline, and in the same period enrollment in educational institutions has fallen by over 54,000 people, a 10.3% decline. In 2024, national defense became a compulsory subject in high school. The University of Latvia and Riga Technical University are 2 major universities in the country, both successors to Riga Polytechnical Institute, and located in Riga. Other important universities, which were established on the base of State University of Latvia, include the Latvia University of Life Sciences and Technologies, established in 1939 on the basis of the Faculty of Agriculture, and Riga Stratons University, established in 1950 on the basis of the Faculty of Medicine. Both nowadays cover a variety of different fields. The University of Daugavpils is another significant center of education. The Latvian healthcare system is a universal program, largely funded through government taxation. It is similar to British NHS-type health system with a purchaser-provider split, PPS. After undergoing multiple reforms, a National Health Service, NHS, Nationale Veselības dienests, NVD, type system was established in 2011. The NVD controls the implementation of healthcare policies while the Ministry of Health develops policies and oversees the system. Healthcare services are available for free for citizens of Latvia. The country's Ministry of Health manages its healthcare system through a combination of social insurance institutional body, legislative healthcare provision financed by taxes and numerous public and private providers. Despite near-universal population coverage provided by the NVD established in 2011, there are challenges to equitable access with issues around geographical distribution of health professionals, user charges and long waiting lists. The publicly funded health benefits package is limited in scope and only covers a predetermined set of services. Healthcare system of Latvia was among the lowest-ranked healthcare systems in Europe. Due to excessive waiting times for treatment, insufficient access to the latest medicines, and other factors, there were 59 hospitals in Latvia in 2009, down from 94 in 2007, and 121 in 2006. According to the survey conducted by the Euro Health Consumer Index in 2015, Latvia was among the European countries in which unofficial payments to doctors were reported most commonly. Individuals have the right to decline mandatory vaccinations. Healthcare providers must obtain the signatures of decliners and explain the health consequences. Other countries do not have similar requirements. Mandatory vaccines are publicly funded. These include tuberculosis, diphtheria, measles, hepatitis B, human papillomavirus for 12-year-old girls, and tick-borne encephalitis until age 18 in endemic areas and for orphans. Other vaccines are not publicly funded. Access to healthcare in Latvia remains limited for a large segment of the population, with large numbers of those on low incomes reporting unmet needs, above 12%, because of financial constraints. And those with high income are closer to EU average 2.5%. Latvia ranks second lowest after Lithuania, between other EU countries in including preventable causes of mortality, and third lowest after Lithuania and Romania in terms of treatable causes of mortality. The number of new HIV cases has been rising since 2005 and now is the highest in the EU. In 2017, 19/100,000th population in compared with 5.8 100,000 in the EU. Latvia had the fourth highest mortality in Europe, at 704 per 100,000 population in 2015, the third highest rate of male smokers 49%. And the second highest rate of death from injury, 55 per 100,000. The majority of deaths in Latvia can be linked to lifestyle-related risk factors, such as dietary risks, Latvia 31%, EU 18%. Tobacco usage, alcohol and low physical activity. According to OECD Country Health Profile 2017, in 2014, 1 in 4 adults in Latvia were daily smokers. About 1 in 5 adults reported heavy alcohol consumption on a regular basis, which was close to average in the EU. but with substantial difference between men, 33%, and women, 8%. Obesity rates are the second highest in the EU and on the rise. More than 1 in 5 adults in Latvia was obese in 2014 compared to 1 in 6 in 2008. In 2017, more than 21% of adults were obese, more than 6% above EU average. A new measure of expected human capital calculated for 195 countries from 1990 to 2016 and defined for each birth cohort as the expected years lived from age 20 to 64 years and adjusted for educational attainment, learning or education quality, and functional health status was published by The Lancet in September 2018. Latvia had the 21st highest level of expected human capital with 23 health, education, and learning adjusted expected years lived between age 20 and 64 years. Sport in Latvia includes basketball, football, ice hockey, athletics, track, rugby, tennis, cycling, and others. Ice hockey is the most popular of the Latvian sports and is closely followed by basketball. The national sport of Latvia is ice hockey. Ice hockey is the most popular sport in Latvia. Its professional league is the Latvian Hockey Higher League, held since 1931. In Latvia there are also several amateur hockey leagues. Ice hockey has been played in Latvia since the 1920s. Latvia is a member of the International Ice Hockey Federation, IIHF. Its national team has participated in several world championships and the 1936 Winter Olympic Games. The Latvian Haris Melups was the goaltender for the Soviet Union national team in its first international game in 1948. The best season for Dinamo Riga came in 1987-1988. The first season when the Soviet Elite League instituted an NHL-style playoff system. Dinamo Riga finished third in the regular season and upset Dynamo Moscow in the semi-finals. Before losing to CSKA Moscow, the perennial Soviet champions of the 1980s, in the finals. The 2006 Men's World Ice Hockey Championships was held in Latvia. In Latvia, basketball is the second most popular sport. Latvia has a long basketballing tradition. Latvia won the first European Championship in 1935 and hosted the second championship in 1937. In the Soviet period, the Latvian men's basketball team, Rigas ASK, was dominant in the Soviet League in the 1950s and early 1960s. Winning several Soviet League championships and 3 European Champions Cups, in 1958, 1959 and 1960. In the 1960 Summer Olympics, the Soviet Olympic teams in 1956 and 1964 Summer Olympics had 3 Latvian players each. The Soviet team in 1952 Summer Olympics had 1 Latvian. The women's team, TTT Riga, was very successful in the 1970s and 1980s, winning the European Champions Cup 18 times, more than any other team in any team sport. For men's basketball, the guard Valdis Valters was the most highly acclaimed player of the 1980s. Latvia returned to international competition as an independent country in 1992. The qualifiers of the 1992 Summer Olympics were the first tournament for Latvia's team after the country regained independence. The most successful tournament for Latvia was the 2001 European Championships, when the Latvian team finished in 8th place. In Eurobasket Women 2007, the national women's basketball team reached the semi-finals, the best results of the first national basketball team since gaining independence from the Soviet Union, and faced Russia. Latvian athletes have achieved medals in Olympics and European World Championships. Most recently Ainars Kovals with a silver medal in the men's javelin throw at the 2008 Olympics in Beijing. Stanislavs Olajars won a silver medal in 2002, and a gold medal at the 2006 European Athletics Championships in the 110 meters hurdles. Yelena Prokopchuk has won New York City Marathon in 2005 and 2006. Rugby union in Latvia is a minor but growing sport. During the occupation of the Baltic states, Latvia was not a center for the game, but nonetheless Latvia managed to qualify for the 1993 Rugby World Cup Sevens, which may be seen as the highest point it has yet reached. Since 2006, tennis has become a popular sport in Latvia because of Ernests Gulbis's achievements. He reached fourth round of 2007 US Open, where in the third round he beat world number 8 Tommy Robredo. In 2008 he lost in the quarterfinals in French Open, where his opponent was the world number 3 Novak Djokovic. Gulbis reached number 10 in June 2014. Another successful tennis player was Ukrainian-born Larissa Neiland, one of the top female doubles players from the late 1980s until the early 1990s. Another WTA player is Anastasia Sevastova, who reached a career-high ranking of number 15 in 2017 and has reached 3 US Open quarterfinals, including 1 semifinal, and has won 3 WTA titles. Association football was the most popular sport in Latvia during the first period of independence, 1918 to 1940. The Latvian national team participated in the final stage of the 2004 European Football Championship. The Latvia national football team represents Latvia in men's international football and is controlled by the Latvian Football Federation, the governing body for football in Latvia. They have never qualified for the FIFA World Cup, but did qualify for the European Championship in 2004 under head coach Alexander Starkovs. Also, Latvian cyclists are famous in the world arena, lately in BMX. First time in Europe cycling history, one country Latvian BMX elite riders triumphed on European Championships 2006. Maris Strombergs was the 2008 and 2010 UCI BMX World Champion and a double gold medalist at the Beijing 2008 Summer Olympics and London 2012. Latvian rider Romans Vainsteins won the elite men's road race at the 2000 UCI Road World Championships. Rally is considered to be the second most popular sport in Latvia.